And you are live. What is going on, everybody? RogersBase here with my live reaction to One Piece manga chapter 1135. I am so supremely excited for the chapter this week. I have heard from so many people. This is an amazing one. So I want to jump right into it. No delay. I don't want to get spoiled on anything. Let's just jump right into it. All right, here we go. Let me click the button. Make sure everything's running. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Twitch. We're good. 1137. Introducing Shamrock. Says that's the name of the title, which says to me, based on the little that I know about this chapter, this is going to be good. My guess is that's probably going to end up being stabs, but we'll see. Ogre Child Yamato's Golden Harvest Surrogate Pilgrimage, Volume 23, Infiltrate the Sketchy Hideout. Okay, and you've got Tama and Yamato walking in a Who's Who's hideout. We're still not seeing Who's Who. We're just seeing Who's Who's little subordinates over there. Also, they got really goofy faces. One of them's got like a Jay Leno chin. The other one's got a super big mouth. I don't know what's going on with the third guy over there, looking like the Three Stooges with a really long face. But I'm super excited for this one. Let's go. All right, 1137. In the fort, okay. We're starting at the castle. Oh, dude, this is what I like to see. I love waking up on a Sunday morning and getting this kind of hype first thing in the morning. This is fire. All right. In the 14 years since King Harold's death, no one has dared approach the castle. All right, and it says Aurus Castle Elbaf, and you can see it right there on the top of the cliff. Or so I thought. But it's clear now that someone has broken through the door. And there are no guards standing watch. So Roto is basically telling them all this information. And Nami is saying this is a bad sign then? Intruders. But these doors were broken from the inside. Well, either way, we'll figure it out when we get in there. Also, very astute, Zoro. Very astute, because obviously when the Holy Knights got there, they summoned inside of the castle when they were taking out that guard. So you're right, they broke it from the inside. All right, and here comes Luffy. Keys. The destruction looks fresh. Ooh, this is good. Are we going to get a face-to-face? Wait, please, wait. This is actually frightening. And that's what Roto's saying. Meanwhile, the other three are like, this castle is huge. I can't even see the ceiling. It's way too big. There's no way I could walk across this. Yo, Roto, where are the keys? And you can see him holding there. I'm just a common man. I've never been inside the castle. But we're very lucky to have you with us. Yo, ultra rare Nami putting in the work. Flirting with them, blowing kisses, doing what she has to do. And you see Roto going, really, ultra rare Nami? I was just thinking the same thing. Onward. So, all right, here we go. So this is what it's like in here. I'm overcome with both wonder and fear. Is all of this destruction from the intruders? And you could see the broken down bridges and the vines all over the place. You even hear dun, dun, dun as they're walking on in with the little sound of their footsteps. No. King Harold passed after a vicious battle with Loki. What you see are the scars of that fight. All right, so he knows that at the least. Even though he's never been in the castle, he's able to tell that that's what this is from. And Zoro's saying, that's some serious devastation. Loki is a monster, to be sure. But King Harold was also known as a great warrior on his own. Destruction was inevitable. And you can see Luffy going, whoa, it's huge. Meanwhile, Nami just going, it's horrifying. It's like a giant graveyard in here. Well, naturally, there were many soldiers inside the castle. Very creepy, too, because you see the giant skulls on the ground as well. Loki slew over 100 stout warriors that day. The only survivors among the castle were Chief Jarl and Loki himself. It was a shocking, bloody scene, and it was agreed afterwards that the castle should be sealed and left untouched. Loki slew 100 warriors that day. Okay, so Jarl and Loki were the only ones who saw what was going on then. So Jarl could have made something up. Perhaps it is now haunted by vengeful spirits. But Luffy's just having a good time. He's jumping up on the, what is this? What is this? Look how big the skull is. It's even got horns. Is this like oars? The largest bones belong to the warriors with the blood of the ancient giants. There are no longer any pure bloods, but some still have traces of it in their history. And in fact, King Harold himself was very large and mighty. Okay. I'm going to reserve my thoughts until the ending, but I'm leaving a mark in my brain during the review portion because that is something I absolutely, positively want to talk about. Them referring to the giants that I'm assuming are going to be ores. We're not seeing them living, we're seeing the skull. And him saying, is it like ores? Referring to them as ancient giants. Okay. We're getting what I thought I was going to get out of Onigashima, where you have the giant head with the skull. Okay. Look up. Oh, okay. Oh, we're getting a photo. Okay. Oh, this is good stuff. Roto, just look up. I haven't seen that visage in years. That is a portrait of our King Harold. All right, so we're going to actually... He looks... Okay, this is interesting. Give me a second. The man who loved peace and attempted to bridge the gap between Elbaf and the rest of the world. The greatest king in the history of Elbaf, they say. Who's they? Who is they saying that? He died. You got them saying he looks strong. The scarring on his head is where he ripped out his horns, the mark of his giant ancient blood. To him, ancient giants were a reminder of our era of war. Is it just me, or does this bro look like Kaido? He looks like Kaido. He's got this. He ripped his horns off. This is getting very interesting. I'm very excited as to where this is going to go. This is very good. And you got the RogersBase people. Interesting. And that's also, okay, ancient giants were a reminder of era of war. Okay. His Majesty's death was a shock to us all, but it was the hardest upon the other son of King Harold, Harudin, who had the most cause for hate. The most cause to hate Loki for his actions. Okay, the most cause to hate Loki for his actions, and Luffy's looking back like, what, really? He and Loki were brothers? I thought we knew that already, though. I'm pretty sure the other giants had mentioned that. I guess they weren't around when we found that out, though. Either way, interesting stuff. Okay. They were, but from different mothers. Harudin was born to another woman prior to King Harold's marriage to the queen. You see, Elbaf did not allow for Harudin's mother to be queen. How come? Because she was from a different giant nation. And meanwhile, Zoro's like, why does it matter? You're all giants. Crazy to hear this from the racist, but all right, that's great. Good. Zoro's evolving. That's good. Zoro proving that you can evolve as a person. Great. He said, that shouldn't matter. You're all giants. Love is love, baby. Let's go, Zoro. We love a new progressive king who grew. That's fantastic. Good work, Zoro. All right. Finally, it can stop. You got to be okay with the fishmen now, though. All right, Zoro? All right. We're all giants. Do you humans not wage war over land and resources as well? Look, Road, I understand where you're coming from. You're also completely correct. And meanwhile, Zoro is being reminded of the evils of the rest of the world, be like, oh yeah, I guess you're right. That's true. Giants from other areas will tarnish the blood of Elbaf. All right, now hold on. Now this is getting reversed. We're taking, Zoro took it all and put it inside Roto. You have some really bigoted views about the other giants and humans. Oh, but you're different, Nami. No, don't suck up to me, scum. There we go. There we go, Nami. Put him in his place. And meanwhile, Roto's going, oh. So Harudin's blood is tarnished. Why do you ride with his crew? Also wild to see tarnished in bolded letters. It immediately makes me think of Elden Ring, where it's like, ride tarnished. All right, well, let's go. Well, because Roto the nerd, what a creep. Because all of them were picking on him. This is amazing. You can draw C charts like this? Show me how to do it. Harudin, you want to be my friend? Huh? Friend? I guarantee you that said nakama in the original Japanese. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. So Roto was always being picked on drawing his little map. I was going to say drawing his little nerd drawings, but they called him a nerd earlier. But either way, I was going to say with Roto, Roto's funny because Roto, on one hand, obviously we don't like him because of all the stuff that he did with the characters in the beginning of the arc, right? And putting them inside the Lego castle, being a creep, calling them ultra rares. But at the same time, Haruden saw the good in him. Haruden was like, I could use you as a navigator. And then Roto got a little less creepy. And he said, you know what? Maybe I have a friend. You see, unlike me, Roto's standing up for him. Unlike me, Haruden is a truly honest and straightforward man. Despite being unable to live in the castle with his father and seeing the way his mother was tormented, he withstood all of that pain and said that I want to unify all of giant kind. I'm going to be the man who will become king of the giants, dude. No wonder he wanted to be part of the Grand Fleet. This man's got a parallel dream to Luffy. And you know that I can do it, and all his crew going, Haruden, Haruden. I want to help his dream come true. So you can be reasonable after all. I guess you got kind of boring, and Zoro's thinking back to when he joined up. Nami's laughing about the whole thing. And Luffy's already running off in the distance. He's not even paying attention to Roto's sad backstory, saying, come check it out. Giants are knocked out over here. So I'm assuming they're going to stumble upon the guards that were knocked out by, what, Junko? Or Gunko? What was her name? The bandage girl? All right, here we go. Junko's from, what am I talking about? Junko Inashima. What am I talking about? Danganronpa. All right, anyway, doesn't matter. Irrelevant. Underworld Elbaf. All right, so we're not going to see the giants. We're jumping back to the stuff with Loki. After that amazing proclamation at the end of the last chapter, where Loki was like, I'm going to use all this rage to destroy your world. All right. Is it sinking yet? I told you already, and you can see Loki is coughing up blood and wheezing. I told you already, I can't move. It doesn't change our question. A member of the common rabble received a chance to join the rank of gods. It's a miracle that only one can dream of. And we are offering you that miracle right now. What the heck is she doing? Her bandaged up hockey leg is completely wrapped up. You can see the clickbait arrows rolling all around it. Looks like she almost has like a Vegapunk boot too. She's standing all the way above him. What is she stepping on? So she's like stomping on the ground and then shooting up arrows at him. And he's like, come on, damn it, not again. And you see the other arrows. What is this? So your foot is going to accelerate to kick my right cheek. And after I've turned the other way, you're going to give me an uppercut with that fist of yours. Thanks a lot for the heads up. Is he using like advanced observation hockey or something? He knows what's going to happen? And you can see her wrapping up the other arrows on her arm. What in the world? Those arrows are the confirmed path of my very future. A declaration of unavoidable violence. But it is possible for me to change course. And you can see the arrows going in every different direction again. I love that shot on page 10 of her standing with the giant boots. So I ask you again, Loki, will you join the Holy Knights? You can see him being completely silent, still wrapped up with the chain, still sitting against the tree. Moron! Hell no! Let's go! Let's go, Loki! He's like the little dog hitting the little button with the treats. If you guys never seen that video, I'll pull it up a little bit later. There's this cute little video of a dog who learns how to speak with this little button. And every time he's like, did you eat that treat? The little dog slams it and goes, hell no! Button. Let's go, Loki. Okay. Is he going to chomp down on the arrow? You can see one arrow going up, the other one going the other direction. Slamming on down. Is he going to move his face out of the way? He can't move, though. So he sees the trajectory of the attack. It's not even using future sight. He still has figured out the stuff with the arrows, and he's still getting smacked. And you can see Gunko just, bam, going the other direction. I love, by the way, too, the way that that's actually drawn, where you see the sound effect coming off of it with the arrow going through the middle and then her actual direct attack against his face. Poor Loki getting destroyed here. My man is tanking attacks from the Holy Knights, though. And she's spinning around, swirling. There's the uppercut that he predicted. Punching right underneath. Ooh, man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Brutal. Loki, 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 Loki. Dude, the whole next page is just him getting walloped. You could see another punch to the uppercut, slamming his head down. You could see the other bear watching, getting upset by this. Hit down by one of the arrows. So they've been killing a bunch of his little animal buddies that have been coming to help. Hacking up blood and coughing and wheezing. He literally can't even speak anymore. Damn it. You'll regret this. And you could see every single arrow coming in on him just right towards the middle. Stop. Enough already. So, will you join? Yeah. He's about to scream. Oh, Loki, 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 Loki. But meanwhile, you got Stabs over there sitting next to one of the animals with the arrow at him. She's huffing. I mean, she's trying her best. She's attacking and attacking and attacking, and he is still tanking it. And you've got him going, that's enough, Gunko. Okay, give me the reveal. Please, let's see it. Let's see it, let's see it, let's see it, let's see it. Please, 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 please. Please. Okay, here we go. Let's change tactics. Contact Marijoa. Oh my goodness gracious. Here we go. Here we go. I love his design, man. Wow, 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 wow. The outfits, Reagan is going to have a field day when she sees this. Reagan already loves Shanks. She's going to make me this. Guaranteed she's going to make me this. I love this outfit. I'm sick of all these useless people. I'd hoped that we could have settled this much more cleanly. Dude, look at the outfit. The boots and that awesome jacket and everything, and the commander of the Holy Knights, a world noble, Figarland Shamrock, son of Saint Garling of the Five Elders. Oh. Okay, introducing Shamrock, as the title of the chapter said. Let's go. I am loving this dude. Shamrock looks so cool. He looks so unbelievably cool, bro. I love his design. It seems he'd rather die than join us. So what is this? Some type of religious thing? And Gunko, oh, we're getting confirmation. We get double confirmation. All right. Gunko, double confirmation, not just her name. Holy Knight's Gunko, Arrow Woman, who ate the arrow fruit. So she does have the clickbait fruit then. We said earlier we thought it had something to do with the bandages, but no, it's the arrows themselves. Okay. The arrow fruit. Dude, I never thought when I started doing One Piece reactions and One Piece reviews on YouTube, all those years ago, a decade ago, I never thought 10 years later, I would be seeing a twin of Shanks, an evil twin of Shanks, and a woman with the clickbait fruit. This is insane. Also, interesting thing to note that I'm looking on here, above where it says Figarland Shamrock, commander of the Holy Knights, you see in parentheses, World Noble. Gunko does not have that. So where is Gunko from, and why did she join the Holy Knights? Did the same thing that she's trying to do to Loki happen to Gunko? Was Gunko's family wiped out, and the Holy Knight said, join us or die? And she joined? And maybe was given a devil fruit or something? I want to know her backstory. That is interesting as well. Okay. 1,137. Okay, we still got more, though. The vicious warriors of Elbaf, who conquered the New World long, long ago, will be brought under the command of the world government once and for all. Shamrock making the declaration. Loki slumped over, bleeding after getting bombarded with the clickbait from every single direction. Hey, Dreer, Smash Brothers coming out in 2026, everything. No, doesn't matter. To be continued, One Piece manga chapter 1,137. end. Bro! This chapter right here is fire. Fantastic once again. Oda has not missed yet this year. This year has been incredible for Elbaf. I feel like we had, obviously, that great chapter last week. The great chapter last week. Lots of lore, lots of information, the stuff about the different interpretations of the Bible, seeing Gunko's name, seeing more of the stuff with Loki. Now this week, we got the reveal of Shanks' evil twin brother Shamrock. We got the reveal of Gunko's devil fruit. We got an amazing sequence with Loki, not only trying to use Future Sight for the arrows, but then also Gunko showing off how she attacks. Then we actually got to see King Harold. King Harold looks like Kaido, which is very interesting. And we also get lore about the Ors race, that the Ors race are basically the ancient giants. So basically there's like giants and pure blood giants. And so the giants that we've been seeing in Elbaf are like tarnished from different giant races, which is very, very, very interesting. Very interesting stuff. I thought that a big portion of Elbaf was going to be about religious difference, right? You even get that portion towards the ending with Gunko saying, what is this, a religious thing or something? We knew that was going to be the case, right? I had originally presumed it was going to be something like some of the giants would worship a sun god, some of the giants would worship a moon god or something. That obviously didn't end up being the case. There's basically just different interpretations of the sun god, as we learned from the last chapter. But now we're seeing that there's also this difference in the races of the giants. And there's some people that are just straight up racist. This is wild to me. We're all giants. Do you humans not wage war over land and resources as well? So Haruden can never be seen as king because his blood is tarnished. But what about his mother? Just simply a queen from a different giant nation. But this is also interesting because clearly the Elbaf giants do not all have horns. They are not all ancient giants. We see horns on some of their, on some of their helmets, but they don't actually physically have horns. At least my presumption is that they don't. So we might end up seeing a bunch of different type of races of giants throughout the course of all of this. And he's saying he was a common man, but there's a lot of lore here. Also, him just casually dropping that the only two survivors of the other attack on the castle were Jarl, who has the sword in his head, and Loki. They were the only two who actually saw what happened. We see the brutality of that fight. You see 100 people lying there on the ground, 100 giants, wiped out on the ground. And King Harold himself died. But do we know if he actually died? Like, I need to see a full flashback. I'm sure, obviously, this is all a mystery. We'll eventually get this when we get Loki. But man, oh man, dude. What an incredible chapter. I just really cannot get over how much Harold looks like Kaido. And him specifically saying the scarring on his head is where he ripped off his horns, which were his mark of his ancient giant blood. And he says to him, ancient giants were a reminder of our era of war. But again, war land is what Elbaf has always been called. So my assumption were that the giants, from everything else that had already happened throughout this, with Dory and Bragi always fighting, and Oimo and Kashi and all this stuff, my assumption was that the king and his subordinates wanted this. But clearly not. But also, when did the ancient giants leave? And when we saw Ors and Ors Jr., like Ors Jr., where was he from? I have a lot of questions. And Ors Jr. also, my brain is like firing off synapses in every direction. Ors Jr., when we saw him, had the traditional Wano hat, right? In the flashback that we saw during Marineford. The guy that we know is on the island right now, who is not a giant, presumably, who is a human wandering around, who some people think is Scopper, he's wearing the hat that Ors Jr. was wearing. He's wearing the same type of hat, but they're obviously not in Wano, they're here. Lil Ors Jr., right. So then what in the world is the connection there? Because I think there has to be. There has to be a connection with Lil Ors Jr. the man that we see in the hat, the ancient giants, the blood of King Harold, the horns that he ripped off, this fight that happened within the castle, because again, why did Loki attack everybody? There's got to be a reason. Just for the devil fruit, there's got to be more to it than that, obviously. And Loki is refusing, time and time again, the invitation to the Holy Knights, which then says to me that there is some type of morality in him. He is a proud warrior. He's not going to join them, which says to me that there might have been a connection with King Harold. And how much of the world government did King Harold know? So many questions. This is hype. This is incredibly hype. Again, the lore building, these past 2 chapters, I think is exactly what we needed out of the early chapters of Elbaf. Not to say those early chapters weren't good. I thoroughly enjoyed the early chapters of Elbaf. I enjoyed the pacing of the early chapters. I liked flying through the stuff with the Lego castle. And we're not getting a break next week as well. This is fantastic. But I'm fascinated as to, like, again, where all this is going to be going. Even the backstory with Roto, I thought, was really excellent this chapter. Him talking about his relationship with Haruden, right? That people were always making fun of him for being an otaku, but Haruden saw what actually made Roto good, right? His navigation skills, and said, hey, you could join my crew. And then the line-by-line reading, I'm going to be king of the giants, right? And then, do you want to be my friend? Want to be my nakama? It's funny, because then again, you totally see why Haruden would want to follow a man like Luffy after the events of Dressrosa, and why he'd call himself a member of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. But they are really hyping up these new giant pirates, though. I mean, I feel like with the characters that we already know are part of the Grand Fleet, and seeing everything that we've seen in Elbaf so far, I would go as so far to say that despite us loving Bartolomeo and Cavendish and all the rest of them, and Leo, I do feel like the new giant pirates of the squad are probably the strongest in all of the Grand Fleet. If you're thinking of all the different ships, right, we have Orlumbus, Ideo with the Jim crew with Blue, Gilly, and Abdullah and G. You've got Leo, Bartolomeo, Cavendish, and Haruden. I feel like Haruden's group has got to be the strongest. Also, speaking of strength, I hate to do this. But I got to ask this. Speaking of strength and speaking about power levels and stuff, just because this is the one instance in which I'm like, there might be cause to discuss. Let's talk about Shamrock a little bit. Shamrock, being the commander of the Holy Knights, being the one in charge of someone like Gunko, who clearly has armament hockey, right? Clearly, Loki's got that advanced observation. I feel like Gunko does too. Or at the very least, has observation hockey. Shamrock, my assumption, has got to be at least as strong as Shanks. Right? He's got to be. Maybe not as strong, but nearly as strong. If he's the commander of all of them, Chad is immediately disagreeing, saying no. And Mikhail is saying he definitely is stronger because he's got both hands. Well, that doesn't necessarily mean much. I mean, if his hockey isn't as strong as Shanks' hockey, then that's fine. But I mean, he's a twin. He's not scarred up. He still has both his hands. He looks like a beast. And now we know for certain that silhouette that we saw, dating back to that chapter where we saw like the spread of all the Yonko during that portion of Egghead Island, and you see all the other important characters that are going to be there during the final war. You see Kobe and the rest of them. You see the silhouette of who appears to be Shanks covered up. Marijoa, clearly it's Shamrock, which then throws into question, okay, the pirate that was being talked about with the discussion with the Gorosei, if that was indeed Shamrock, who was he referring to? Was he referring to Luffy? What was going on there? I gotta know. I have to know what's going on with all of that. And also, what is going to happen, dude? What is going to happen when Luffy sees Shamrock? You know, when Luffy sees Shamrock, he is going to absolutely, positively lose his mind. I feel like in one weird way, he's going to be like, dude, what are you doing with both your hands? How are you okay? Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. This is interesting stuff. Very, very, very interesting stuff. I love his design. Again, I keep looking at it. I keep looking if there's Easter eggs. The popped collar. The turtleneck sweater. The braids, like the Elbaf Norse kind of braids going down. And again, their goal seems very obvious, very simple. We want Elbaf to be brought under the command of the world government once and for all. There you go. Snowing in the underworld. I really can't get over the lore of Ors and the ancient giants. And that whole discussion with Roto. Like, this entire chapter was really only 2 scenes. The 2 scenes were Roto explaining the history of Elbaf, walking through the castle, and then the scene at the end with Loki. That's it. But he packed so much into those 2 scenes. This was fire, dude. This was really, really good. Again, like I said last week, classic One Piece. Classic One Piece. Lots of lore building, lots of good action, lots of amazing art. Even that panel we see with Gunko with the giant arrow leg. Fantastic, man. Fantastic chapter this week. Wow, wow, wow. Well, I'm dying to know. I got to see what is James's thumbnail. I feel like he probably did something really good. I'm going to pull this up. Let's see what James did. Chat, you're not ready. You're not ready. You think you're ready. You're not ready. You are not ready. James, I'm going to say this before I even show the thumbnail on screen, bro. This is potentially your best work yet. I'm hyping this up, but I'm telling you, it really is. This is potentially his best work yet. He did this in a different style that you guys are not expecting. It looks a little bit like the triangle strategy art. I am ready. Bro. James, you killed it. You killed it, dude. Look at the detail on this, man. I love the velvety, like, green background. The little traces coming off of his eyes. Bro, the braids on the hair, the detail. Oh, man. He said, I'm making sure to put my little marker on this. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Looking like a royal portrait of the world nobles. Dude, he nailed this. Wow. James. Incredible, dude. Absolutely, positively incredible thumbnail work this week. Amazing. You cooked. James also said, I forgot and left the signature off yours. Let me fix that. Don't worry about it. You could put the new version up in the drive, but I'm going to read your notes because I saw you left notes over here as well. James left a substantial amount of notes on this one. Let's open this one up. Artist notes. Look at this. James said, I used to do traditional drawings all the time, but honestly, it's been a few years. I'd been wanting to get back to doing some, and then Copic reached out to me at the end of last year to do a collaboration, so I took the opportunity. I've used Copic markers since high school, and Copic is the brand that Oda uses too. So I drew this thumbnail with the pencil and colored it traditionally with Copics. I scanned it in and edited some, but I like the way that it came out. I hope that Shamrock looks cool. He looks amazing, James. Also, Roger, if you don't want cross-promotion, you don't have to read this part. Of course, I'm going to give you the bag, of course. James, come on. Your sponsorship, ASU sponsorship. Oh, no, other way around. My sponsorship, ASU sponsorship. Doesn't matter. So here we go. For any artists, this is from James, in my collaboration with Copic, you can get a Copic marker for $1 with free shipping until the 31st, excuse me. You just have to use my code JAMES25 at try.copicmarkers.com. And then you can also get 25% off your purchase of any of their other products too. And the cool part is the sales benefit me. Let's go, James. I love to see you coming through with the sponsorship. Let's go, James. Let's go. I'll pin that this week. I'll put that in the comment section. I'll get that up there for you. Let's get James the bag. Let's get James the bag. Shout out Copic for sponsoring my thumbnail artist. Beautiful. What a chapter to do it for, too. Dude, he never misses, but this is hands down one of the best things he's ever done. Just, it's incredibly clean. I love it. The lines, like the way you did it with the pencil and the marker, I think is beautiful. The thumbnail being on paper art is crazy, right? It makes it stand out, though. It looks even more beautiful than it normally does. Like having it not be digital, doing it on the pencil art for this. I love it, man. I love it, I love it, I love it. Even just the little detail on his hand, on the hilt, the bandages around the sword, the little buttons on the bottom. Man. Yeah, James killed it. James absolutely, positively killed it this week. Well done. And again, I agree. The background, having it where it's like that velvety, world noble, royal kind of portrait. I love it. Absolutely, positively knocked it out of the park this week, James. Incredible. 10 out of 10, no notes. Wow, 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 wow. Wow. Also, he said, I just submitted the no signature version. I got you, James. Hold on, I'll do that. Oh, you literally had already uploaded. There you go. There you go, there you go. The one for the thumbnail. Doesn't matter, though. It didn't matter either way. It's fine, it looks good. Bro, man. Absolutely gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Also, wait, wait a minute. Hold on, wait, what is this? The no signature version's got like no shading on it. What is this? Look at this. The cape is like a different color on this. We're getting his behind the scenes process. What is this? Look, it's got different shadows on the face too. What is this? You can see the shadows on that. Hold on. You got different layers. James just said, oops. No, but this is cool. I like finding out the process. Wait, so this is how you, so you did it gray and then you added like a layer of shadow over the top? Interesting. I love also that Stefan is bringing up the description. Yeah, the Team Asano art. Wow, 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 wow. Really well done, James. Really, really, really well done this week. Incredible job with the thumbnail. Wow. It's because I ran out of dark gray initially, so I had to go through, and then you digitally colored it. I see, I see. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. This is great. Wow. What a great chapter. What a great way to start off this Sunday. Because this is the last official chapter of January, too. Next one's going to be in February. February 1st, right? Also, Sujal in my chat is asking, James, how do you come up with the poses for the characters? That's actually a really good question. Well, this is obviously a play on his pose in this chapter with the sword. But the way he did it, again, makes it look like a royal portrait. I just can't get over how much he made it look like triangle strategy. Incredible. Wow, 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 wow. All right, well, let's hop back to this. And let's read some super chats and some donations, because I got a lot of them this week. A lot of big super chats, a lot of big donations. Let me check these out. Also, we got our questions from the Nakama. Let me actually start with those. I'm going to start with the questions from the Nakama over on Twitch. Whew, and we got a lot of them this week. We got a lot of them this week. Hold on. Let me open this up. Wow, I'm glad people are finally utilizing this feature. Good. Rob Harley came through with the first one saying, my theory was shot. Unless Loki responds next week, it seems that Shamrock was not the one in contact with Loki. But I wonder, is it another celestial dragon since they're trying to recruit him? It's also interesting that there's other giant tribes. How come we haven't seen or heard of them? At least now we know that there's more out there and possibly creating other monsters like Kaido, Big Mom, etc. But I have to point out, is the room available to post all questions? Had someone asked because they can't type here. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if you're a Nakama tier up, you can absolutely use the room to post your questions for the One Piece streams. And also, if we're doing a Manga Sunday stream, obviously we're just not reading another series right now, but if we're doing a Manga Sunday stream, you could use your question this week in that room for a different manga as well. Again, this week is all One Piece, but normally, if we're doing other series, you can ask other questions. All right, so we got one from Aaron as well. Aaron said, impressions of King Harold is that he looks a lot like three characters that I could think of. Stoic the Vast from HTTYD, I don't know what that is, but I know the second one, number 2, Godfrey the First Elden Lord, which I know, of course, from Elden Ring, and the last one, a little bit of Kratos from God of War. But about Shamrock, I've seen that people are speculating that his armor design actually looks like a medieval knight from the French. Also, simple thought, could we get a Man in the Iron Mask situation with Shanks and with Shamrock? Maybe. Good thing to bring up. We got another one from Clax. Oh, also Rob clarified, Aaron was saying HTTYD was How to Train Your Dragon. Oh, see, I am not familiar with How to Train Your Dragon. I think I've seen the first one years and years ago, but I'm not caught up to the How to Train Your Dragon lore. So I appreciate you guys filling me in. That's good. We got another one from new Club Mammoth member, by the way, Clax. What's going on, Clax? Saying, I have a mini theory that the giants of Elbaf exiled most of the ancient giants after warring for so long, and possibly separated them from each other so they couldn't regroup and form an army. Perhaps King Harold's father was the only one left in Elbaf until Harold was born. It could explain how Ors Jr. came to be away from Elbaf, and why we don't see more horned giant skulls in the room. If this is indeed true, there may be other ancient giants hiding on other islands, or perhaps even being hidden by the world government as secret weapons. That last bit would not surprise me at all, considering how much we've seen is hidden by the world government. We know the giant straw hat is inside of that freezer underneath Marijoa. We still have not really seen more from that. I genuinely believe you could be right in that they are potentially hiding other races of the giants away inside of Marijoa, potentially even their bodies inside of those giant, what's it called? The giant freezers. And maybe they're experimenting on them or something. We know they've been experimenting with gigantification, dating back to Punk Hazard. We know that obviously the stuff back in Whole Cake Island with Big Mom and Mother Carmel and like the child trafficking into the giants, we know they were going to be experimented on as well. I feel like now that we're thinking about it, every single arc in some capacity now, whether it was Punk Hazard Dressrosa with the setup of the gigantification, whether it was Whole Cake Island with the backstory with Mother Carmel, or whether it was Wano Country with Kaido and the ancient giants and now the skulls with the horns on them, I feel like everything throughout the course of the post-time skip era has been leading to this, has been leading to Elbaf. Which is interesting to see the way that it's seeded out. I kind of love that. Good thing to bring up, Clax. Very good. Joker's Fallen One also came through and said, Elbaf is absolutely peak so far. I also got to say, I love Nakama. Can I just say this to the people over at that tier, leaving their questions in the Manga Sunday room on Discord? Can I just say, I love and appreciate you guys using the room to also share your own theories and your comments on the chapter as well. That's exactly what I wanted. I'm seeing some good long-form theories and explanations and things in this room. I love to see it. Proud of my Nakama. No more one-word answers. I love this. Joker's Fallen One coming through saying, Elbaf is peak so far. So much lore. I have so many thoughts. King Harold looks so much like Kaido that maybe he's an illegitimate child with an older giant from the Vodka Kingdom. I do think Elbaf is the murder mystery, and I do think that Jarl is going to be the key to all of this. Potentially he has a brain injury, or he's playing it up with the whole thing with the helmet and the sword. Interesting. Yeah, because again, Jarl saw what actually happened here. Maybe the sword that stuck in Jarl was actually from King Harold. And that Jarl killed King Harold and stormed the castle with his men, and Loki killed them all. Loki might have stood up for his father. This is interesting. Interesting stuff. I'm glad you bring that up. My final thoughts are that Shamrock and Garling could potentially be based on Scottish and Irish descent. Even Shanks' name is Scottish and means shin bone. But either way, I'm enjoying the ride of Elbaf. My brother still believes that Shanks is a clone in some way, but I honestly believe they're twins. And my last thing is that Shamrock wanted to talk to Shanks about... My last thing is that Shamrock wanted to talk to the Five Elders about Shanks to let them know that he wanted to kill his twin. Now that is an interesting twist. If the guy that we thought was Shanks talking to the Gorosei could have actually been Shamrock talking to the Gorosei about a certain pirate, meaning his brother, that would have been good. That would have been really, 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 really good. Also, you guys are saying, after all, the sword inside of the helmet in Jarl's helmet is indeed Harold's sword. That's right. So if the sword in the helmet is Harold's sword, that pretty much lines up perfectly with what we were talking about here, with the idea that Jarl basically stormed the castle. If Harold was all about peace and ripped his horns off and didn't want anything to do with wartime, and Jarl was one of those ancient elders, right? We saw him back in the flashback with Big Mom. Big Mom killed one of the elders, and the other one was still alive. He probably stormed the castle, and then Loki killed all of his men, and then he killed Harold. Harold's sword got stuck in Jarl, Interesting. They're cooking. I gotta see this fight now. That does totally explain Harold's sword in the helmet. That's right. I kind of love that. But what is this old man gonna do? What's Jarl gonna do realistically now? He's an old man with the sword stuck in his helmet. I mean, assumption is he's still gonna be strong, but him being like sort of a twist villain of the arc would be really, really cool. Let's keep going. I got another one from Stefan Dog who said, what do you think of Gunko having the arrow fruit that was exactly what we saw when Cobra and Sabo got hit in the throne room? Maybe I'm reaching, but was Gunko there? Or what if it was Emu? That could be the connection between Gunko and the Emu with the arrow. So, Stefan, I brought this up. I don't know if it was last chapter. No, it must have been last chapter, because last chapter is where we saw the arrows very clearly. I brought up last chapter that, you know, when the God Knights and the Holy Knights showed up in Elbaf, they showed up on that, like, teleportation circle, like the satanic teleportation circle that the Gorosei did. I don't necessarily think that she was in the throne room with Emu and the rest of them. But I do think there is a high chance that her power could have been given to her by Emu, and or that Emu in some way is possessing her currently. Because I think the exception of the World Noble thing in this chapter is very interesting and leads to a bunch of potential different directions with Gunko, where Gunko could have been doing to Loki what happened to her, right? To the offer to join the God Knights, where she eventually joined and gave up her people and then got a power in exchange. It could be a situation in which she is literally Emu, right? Where she's sort of like working undercover, or he is working undercover, because I think we know that Emu is a guy at this point. Well, no, we actually don't know. We don't know what Emu is currently. We do know that Emu was somehow, some way in love with Lily, and there was a connection with those people there, but we don't really know anything else. But the two eyes are different with Gunko, and I do think one of the eyes looking a little bit like Emu's eye could mean something. Nerona Gunko, maybe. Yeah, maybe. We're not seeing a last name. But I do think there is an actual chance that this is a situation almost like, I mean, I called her Sheik when we first saw her, right? With Zelda and with Sheik. But that this could potentially be like a Zelda Sheik situation, right? Where Zelda, when she's leaving the castle, goes under an alter ego so people don't know who she actually is. This could be that situation. We could be seeing a situation in which Gunko is just like Emu's outside version of himself. I don't know. Or herself, or themselves. I don't know what's going on with Emu. Emu's a question. But I do think the eyes, and I do think the arrows are meant to, no pun intended, point to some type of connection between those two characters. Absolutely. Well, great questions this week from my Nakama. Now we got to start getting into the super chats. Let's start reading some of these super chats. And I got a lot of them this week. Lots of good ideas. Fantastic. Let me double check this real quick. Open this up. Let's see. So we're pulling this up right from the very beginning. Also, we got tons of new members this week, too. Holy mackerel. I'll make sure to read everybody out. We got first donation comes from Tech Zero, who said, welcome to Shamrock. Yo, this part of the final saga is going to be absolute fire. Elbaf has absolutely been worth the wait. So much lore. We got another one from Thawhid saying Zoro hard counters Gunko because he has no sense of direction. Imagine an Usopp versus Perona style fight. Bro, I kind of love that. He's not going to know what direction she's going to attack because he's going to go the opposite. I love that. I love that, Thawhid. That is such a good theory. Where Gunko's whole thing is she's obviously going in a different direction and Zoro doesn't know what direction he's going in. It's the perfect hard counter. I love that idea. That also feels very Oda to have a fight set up for Zoro in which he's able to utilize the gag of not knowing what direction he's going in. That's actually great. Great theory. I love that one. I might even do like a short about that. That is great. Good work, Tech Zero. We got, oh no, excuse me, that was Thawhid, excuse me. Thawhid, that was your donation. I want to make sure to give credit to the right person. Shout out to Thawhid, that was great. I got another donation this week from Pure Power saying, as Loki is blindfolded, maybe he has the power to create illusions, like having a physical reality like Nika, potentially a sister fruit of sorts. Maybe the murder is actually an illusion to protect the giants from an even darker truth. Well, we know that Loki, we can assume that Loki, based on what we've been told, has what he believes to be a sun god fruit, which we have yet to see the powers of, whether that is some other interpretation of Nika as a devil fruit, whether that's like the literal sun, whether that is something related to a power of a sun god, whether that is like a real rubber fruit. There's a lot of different directions this can go in with Loki. But the illusion thing is also interesting. Maybe he has the power to create illusions like a physical reality like Nika, a sister fruit of sorts, that may, like, in some way he's actually able to cover up what happened on the murder. I actually think the further we're getting into talking about this and the more I've read different theories and just different comments on the chapter, the more I do think it was like an uprising coup type thing with Jarl. Because that does make a lot of sense with King Harold's sword being in his head. I do just kind of feel that was the case. You could be right, though. Maybe there was an illusion. I don't know. We'll see. But thank you very much for the donation. Appreciate it. Red Bluebird came through and said it might be Shiki because Shiki has the same hat and clothes. But maybe some of the creatures in Strong World are from Elbaf as well. Oh, talking about the guy that's on Elbaf still. You're talking about the guy on Elbaf with the Ors Jr. hat. I actually don't think it's Shiki for one specific reason. There was a recent comment from one of the staff members of One Piece that laughed at the idea that people thought that it was Shiki, which says to me that it's probably not going to be Shiki. But who knows? That could be a throw us off. I don't know. We'll see. We got another donation from James Wigg coming through saying Shamrock looks like he's dressed like a British colonial officer. Uncle Kaido? Cousin Yamato? What direction is this story going in? Cousin Yamato? What? With the horns and everything. Cousin Yamato, that's wild. Roberto donated and said, well, here's a silly question for you. If Shanks was never found by Roger, do you think his name would have been Shake, like the drink the Shamrock Shake, implying that Shamrock is the older twin Shamrock Shake? Oda does like his McDonald's. We know that about Oda. Maybe. Shamrock Shake instead of Shamrock Shake. I think that's goofy. I don't think his name was going to be Shake, but either way, that's I appreciate the donation. That's funny. We got a big one this week from Gems Bach coming through with a $50 donation during this week's Super Chat portion saying, Roger, this was an amazing chapter. Do you think that the reason Shanks was in the chest during God Valley was because Shamrock was born first? In some cultures, twins are seen as a bad omen, and maybe Garling only needed one successor. What do you think? Sure. I mean, we don't really have any explanation for as to why Shanks was in the chest. I mean, could it be that Shanks, have we been looking at this the wrong way this entire time? Could it be that Shanks is the clone? Right? That they could actually literally be twins, or they could still be clones as people were theorizing before. But could it be a situation in which Shanks was a successful clone? Because I have to think about the timeline with Stussy, right? How long has Stussy been around? We know that Stussy was the successful clone of Miss Bucking. We know during the God Valley incident that Miss Bucking was there back when she looked like Stussy. How soon after was the clone thing put in place? Because if Shanks was a successful clone, I could see a prize being in a treasure chest. I could see a prize to the person that wins the contest being that you win a clone of the God Knight's son. She's 36, Shanks is 38. It could be that Shanks is the older brother. See, the thing, though, is if Shanks is the older brother, where would Shamrock have been? I do feel like Shamrock's the older one. You guys are saying Shanks is actually 39. Why would Figureland fight for the clone of his son? I guess you're right, too. That's a good point to bring up. That's a good point to bring up. The curse of succession explains so much. I do like the idea of twins. The curse of succession. Shanks could have been an illegitimate son and therefore could not inherit the Figarland name. The curse, I'm assuming you guys are getting this curse of succession thing from like a bunch of videos earlier this week of people who were talking about the spoilers. I'm just going to look this up. The curse of succession with twins. I'm going to look this up. Shamrock basically needs to be on the planet longer to grow his hair out. There's also a superstition in Japan about twins bringing bad luck. So if Shamrock is the older one, they basically didn't care about him. The curse of succession twins. Here we go. It refers to a fictional narrative trope where the birth of twins, particularly in a royal family, is seen as a bad omen, often predicting conflict, turmoil, and even death related to the succession of the throne due to the ambiguity of who would inherit power between the two siblings. So, I mean, right there, that does seem to sort of solidify that Shanks and Shamrock would be twins. But, let's see here. In many stories, the twins are often seen as representing duality, with one representing good and the other representing evil, further adding to the tension of the inheritance. Okay, this is pretty much all lining up. So this is pretty much lining up that they're twins and not necessarily clones then. The curse could also be tied to an ancient prophecy or a legend that specifically warns against the dangers of twin rulers. The primary issue with having twins is uncertainty about who should rule, potentially leading to power struggles, civil war, and even regicide as each twin's supporters fight for their right to the throne. So maybe they were just trying to get rid of him during God Valley. But man, I also agree that like I would rather it be twins than clones at this point. I think the clone thing is interesting with Stussy, but I think for narrative purposes, I would probably rather it be twins. Just to not muddy up the stuff we already got with the clones and the timeline of what happened and like with Stussy and with the successful ones. I think I'm in agreement that I would rather them actually be brothers. Yeah, you could let the other characters be clones. I agree. Interesting stuff here. Well, thank you for bringing that up. Appreciate that, Gemsbach. Lots of discussion there. All right, one comes from Bonnie Bell. Another super chat from Bonnie Bell saying, King Harold attempted ancient giant genocide in the name of peace, and maybe Loki prevented him, took the fall to protect Elbaf and Harden's dreams of peace. Maybe King Harold wanted peace, but in actuality, like, took out the other giants so that there wasn't any other war. That's an interesting way to look at it. I don't hate that idea. Stretch comes through with the super chat saying, Portkis de Rouge's father is Rox, the right-hand doctor in Impel Down, who created Crimson Hell, Blood Paramecias, Surgeon, Knight, and Knight of Templar Basis. Stretch, that is a stretch. You are living up to your name with that one. I don't know what the hell you're talking about there. Portkis, you're just listing off a bunch of random stuff. Portkis de Rouge's father, right-hand Rox and doctor in Impel Down, created Crimson Hell with Blood Paramecia, is the Surgeon and Knight of the Knight Templar. Bro, what? I don't know. Sure. All right, sure. Blood Paramecia, why not? Let's go. Thank you, Stretch. You got to explain yourself. You just can't throw a bunch of keywords in a donation and expect me to understand what you're talking about. I need something more than just a bunch of keywords. You got to explain yourself, Stretch. All right. Thank you very much. Appreciate the donation regardless. Moody in the chat also said, I told you I've been having problems super chatting a while ago, but could it be that Garling is who? Katsura Otoko? The moon yokai that drains lifespans. I'll look this up. Katsura Otoko. I mean, obviously we know Garling looks like a moon, and we know the Gorosei are based on other yokai. I love the idea of someone bringing up that he could be, oh, what is it? Here, let me pull this up actually so you guys can see what this is. Interesting. Hold on. Let's look at this. Main display, look at this. List of yokai, the Katsura Otoko. Diet vampiric, habitat the moon. Ooh. Katsura Otoko is an incomparably beautiful man who lives in the face of the moon. He appears on moonlit nights and gazes back down on those who gaze upon him. His beauty is said to be enchanting that those who gaze at him find it difficult to turn away even at his own peril. Well, I mean, Garling does look pretty good for being an old man. And if he looks like how Shanks and Shamrock look, people would think he's beautiful. It says, if one casts a gaze long enough at the Katsura Otoko, he will extend his hand and beckon, calling the moon gazers towards him. With each shake of his beckoning hand, his viewer's lifespan shrinks. If one stares long enough at the Katsura Otoko, he may drop dead on the spot. You might actually be cooking with this. Let me explain why you might be cooking. The idea of the Holy Knights and the God Knights, right, being these super strong characters. Garling, if I'm remembering correctly, every time that we've seen him has worn glasses, right? Nearly every single time we've seen him, he wore glasses. Let me pull this up. I'm going to open up the panel just to make sure. When we saw him younger, he even had glasses, didn't he? Or am I misremembering? Did he not always have the sunglasses? Oh no, he's younger. Wait a minute. No, his younger form didn't. During God Valley, he did not. Interesting. During God Valley, he didn't have the sunglasses, but you could see the people around him like screaming as he's attacking them. What if, because we've already seen this with Big Mom, what if that is his yokai devil power or whatever? Is that it's this like moon god, and that when the people stare at him in his yokai form, they get the life sucked out of him the same way that Big Mom would extract life out of people with her soul fruit. But in actuality, his fruit would almost be a better version, because his would just by looking at somebody be able to drain their lifespan. Additionally, you have to remember that Jupiter was actually afraid of him. Could it also have been that Emu turned Garling into that? Very likely, Dustpoof. Very, very likely. Because I still am of the mind that the Gorosei, when granted into the status of Gorosei, are given the power of a yokai, or given like a devil power, right? We've seen this with all the yokai powers of all the other Gorosei. We've seen this when Emu stripped the powers from Saturn at the end of it. I would love the idea of Garling being given this yokai power. I wasn't even aware of this moon yokai before, but this makes a lot of sense. Would be incredibly threatening later on in the story to be attacking somebody just by looking at them. Very, very interesting stuff. I like this theory a lot. Well done. Thank you for bringing that up in the chat. I was not aware of this one, and I love a good yokai theory. This is great. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have another donation from Anime Dimension coming through with $20, saying, based on what I'm seeing from Garling in God Valley, he was so confident that he would win the hunting tournament that he put both of his sons in the chest. One of them was stolen by Roger, and the other one was stolen by Garling, hence Shamrock. He was so confident they put both of his sons in danger? I mean, that does kind of seem like something that Garling would do based on what we've seen of him so far. I don't hate that idea. And again, I do like the idea that they're actual literal twins that went two different directions in life. I love that. Nestor also says, now that Shamrock has been revealed to be Shanks' twin, I'm curious if he's going to be voiced by the same voice actor as Shanks. I feel like he might have a different voice actor. Like a different voice actor that's going to try to sound a little bit like Shanks, but isn't actually Shanks. Yeah. I do think so. What is this now? Let's see. Shanks in 907 is Shamrock. The elders, when they said, why would he come all this way? This could mean the Holy Knights, but the Holy Knights don't live in Marijoa. Maybe they live elsewhere. I totally agree, Koala Fan. I do think that the guy that we saw in 907 was indeed Shamrock and wasn't Shanks. I totally agree. Also, shout out to my man MC20, gifting 5 memberships to the chat right now. Nakama, thank you very, very much. Greatly appreciate that. I don't have my working member total on screen right now, but I will have it working soon. Greatly appreciate that. Shout out to you, MC20 Nakama. Thanks for chalking in the chat. Excuse me. Greatly appreciate that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Big W, giving back to our community. Love to see it. All right. Uh-oh, I'm out of memory on my... What is this? Because I have my thumbnail art open and everything, and I got the Curse of Succession, I got the Otoko conversation. We've had some really good theories this week, man. Really good conversation all around with this chapter. But wait, hold on. I want to read some of these other member messages because I got a bunch of them. First off, I want to give a shout out to lots of new members this week. New member, Jaji, Bolt17, Clax upgrading the membership to Club Mammoth, P4G3Z upgrading membership to the Mammoth Boys, AH Play coming through with the membership. Apex Caliber coming through with the membership. Club coming through with the membership. Paw coming through with the membership. Another one from Apex Caliber upgrading his membership to Mammoth Boys. Clax re-upping to Club Mammoth tier. Marquise Graham re-upping to Nakama tier. Let's go. Anime Dimension coming through with 25 months. Lucky coming through with 10 months. Das Poof, my guy, coming through with 77 months. And a member message saying, do you think Luffy is going to be faked out by Shamrock? I.e. seeing him from behind and thinking it's Shanks. I definitely feel like he'll know right away. I think he'll know right away that it's got to be somebody else because of the scar and because of having 2 arms. He'll immediately be like, wait, what the heck is going on here? Why do you look like Shanks? But I do think it could make for a funny gag when they first see each other, where he's like, how did you regrow your arm? What happened to you, Shanks? You're looking good. I do think it actually absolutely will be brought up, though. Most definitely. Most definitely. Kami also just came through with a membership saying, we're here, Roger. Thank you very much, Kami. Not Kama. Appreciate that. Pass the Blunt coming through with 19 months. J-Man Joestar coming through with 47 months. Saying, I'm excited to see what Luffy's new nickname for Shamrock is going to be, because I want to call him that for now. Yo, Roberto coming through with another membership. Sylvan coming through with the membership. Koala Fan coming through with the membership. Shout out everybody. Nakama. Lots of members this week. Lots of love in the chat. Lots of people coming through. Really, 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 really good chapter this week. Lots of great discussion. Yeah, man. Overall, I loved this one. Absolutely, positively love this one. Also, you guys are saying I missed one from King Waffle. Oh, let me read King Waffles. Where's King Waffles? Let's see. Oh, I did. Thank you very much. Appreciate that, Vipul. We got another super chat. Thank you for saying that. From King Waffle saying, what if Shanks was disguised as Shamrock and told the Gorosei about the certain pirate being either Loki or Luffy? Oh, you think Shanks was disguised as Shamrock? Like he's covering up his scar, and then it was actually Shanks? Why would he tell them about Luffy, though? If anything, I feel like if Shanks was going to go discuss somebody with the Gorosei, it would have been Blackbeard. I think that was kind of the assumption that people made for a long time before we even knew Shamrock or Stabs or whatever existed. Interesting stuff. I am seeing Rob saying, though, I'm convinced Shamrock wanted to talk to the elders about Loki. Which also makes sense considering the God Knights are now showing up, trying to get Loki to join the God Knights. Maybe he went to the Gorosei to get permission to offer Holy Knight status to Loki. That would actually explain a lot. That we all thought it was about Luffy or about Blackbeard, or even potentially about Vivi, where you saw Emu with the giant stabs in the bounty posters. But no. Maybe it was about Loki. Technically, though, Loki wasn't a pirate. I guess that's true, too. He was a member of the royal family. Yeah, I guess that's true. Right, Loki wasn't a pirate, per se. Then who was he talking about? I mean, I like the idea of Shamrock going to talk to them about Shanks. I like that idea a lot as time goes on. But I also like the idea of if it was actually Shanks and we're meant to be thrown for a loop and he maybe was hiding his face and pretending to be Shamrock, I kind of like the idea that he went to talk about Blackbeard. Yeah, I'm not sure. I could definitely see Shamrock being disguised as Shanks as a later point, but not the other way around. I don't know. Also, Saul, Morley, and Sanwan Wolf are not from Elbaf, and we've seen all of them be giant characters. That's true. Well, Sanwan Wolf, I'm assuming, would be a different race of giants. You know. This whole thing is just fascinating with the different races and everything. Also, I'm seeing past the blunt, I didn't see a member message come up on the viewer activity, but when I scrolled through this new live chat, I was actually able to see it here. So I do actually see it up on here. So I'm going to read your member message. He said, love you, Roger. Do you think that Dragon... I got to say, also, quick shout out. Before I read this message out, just because this has become the most useful thing on the planet, shout out to this new social stream live chat. Bro, this thing is incredible. We set this up on stream yesterday on Twitch, where it's basically a cross chat between my Twitch and my YouTube where all the messages come through. And it's set up as a cross chat, so when I'm live on both, people can see what I'm doing on both. So this will be amazing during like Nintendo Directs when I go live and we can have people talking in both. I love this. But also, this little app allows me to pull up on stream specific member messages. Now, I don't have the featured gift thing set up here in my sources on here, but I can set it up real quick and show you guys an example of what it's going to look like. I haven't like perfected it yet, but let me show you what I'm talking about. If I go up on here and I type in featured chat and I put this down in my corner, check this out. Look at this. I can go to any message in the screen and do this. Like I'll just click this one because this is a nice little message. Hold on. So it says MC20 just showing love to everyone. I live for these chapter reviews and chat theories. Watch this chat. It shows up on screen as a featured message. So moving forward, once I'm going through super chats and I'm going through and I'm reading through the chat and I want to pull a message up, I can literally pull it up on screen as I'm reading about it and then click it off. Is that not awesome? Absolutely, positively love it. Man, oh man, oh man. Super, super cool that we're getting that. Wow. The only problem is it's showing deleted messages, unfortunately. Modern messages aren't disappearing from the stream. Oh, really? I'll have to check that out a little bit later. I'm not going to do that while we're live. I'll do that a little bit later, Clax. Maybe I'll hop in one of the rooms afterwards and try to test it out. But things are looking really good. Man. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. Also, I saw people bringing this up in the chat earlier, the twins idea, the succession of twins that we talked about a little bit. Bringing up the connection there to the Fenrir theory that we brought up at the beginning of Elbaf with the twin wolves and the sun and the moon and all that kind of stuff. Neat connections there. I don't know. Lots of different little things that can come up here. Anyway, I'm sorry. I missed your other message, Pass the Blunt, your member message, saying, do you think Dragon or any of the revolutionaries will make a move on Elbaf if more of the Holy Knights show up? I mean, to be honest, I think they're probably making their move right now. I think they're aware of the fact that the Holy Knights are moving, and I do think, as I brought up in the beginning of Elbaf, that the first place for Final War, right, is going to be Elbaf. I think we're going to have the Elbaf arc that's going to deal with like the mystery of what happened to King Harold and Jarl and the connection there with Loki. But I think once Loki is freed, which again kind of goes back to what I was saying years ago, where I said that Elbaf might be a little bit of a transitional arc. I honestly, genuinely believe that from the moment Loki is freed, if we get the attack on the God Knights and we get, to find out the truth about what happened with Jarl and King Harold, that after the lore of Elbaf itself is built out, that the actual proper conflict could just genuinely be the first step into Final War. I mean, if we're attacking God Knights, we've got a Yonko present because we've got Luffy. We've got the Giants. We've got the God Knights present as well. And this mystery character who potentially is related to Roger in some capacity, Scapper Gabbana or whatever. This could just be beginning of Final War. Like Elbaf could just immediately transition into a Final War arc where like the final attack of the Elbaf, the final fight of the Elbaf arc could be maybe Shamrock. Well, it wouldn't be Shamrock. Shamrock would probably lead into Final War, but could be like Loki being freed, maybe an attack against Jarl if Jarl ended up betraying them, finding out the truth of what happened with the murder mystery. Kind of seeing things the same way we saw with Zoe, right? Where Zoe, we had the explanation of what happened with the stuff with Jack, but the difference was we were being told that flashback from the characters that experienced it. I feel like we're going to get a similar situation with Loki and with Jarl, where we're going to find out exactly what happened in that castle and the relation to what happened with the God Knights and them wanting to take Elbaf under the world government control. The God Knights could very well be the primary antagonist of this arc. And once the other giants find out that Loki was somewhat innocent, or Loki, maybe killed a bunch of giants, but did it for a different reason, maybe the other giants go behind him and rally behind him. And you've got Haruden now saying he wants to be the king of the giants. You've got like the weird succession thing also being paired with the stuff with Shanks and Shamrock. I'm just wondering how he's going to break down Elbaf as an arc without it just like immediately seamlessly going into Final War. Again, I feel like because we are in the final saga, what's to keep Oda from just writing the first act of the Final War as the Elbaf arc? And that the remainder of the Final War is all the stuff outside of Elbaf. But we could totally just kick off the final war with what's going on in Elbaf right now. I love this. And we still got to find out more information about the stuff with Big Mom's flashback. There's a lot of stuff we got to go through. Man. Also, Jeskinator super chatted earlier, brought up the whole thing about the sword in Jarl's head that we talked about. I see Red Bluebird donated earlier as well, saying we might see a bunch of the extinct races in this arc. I totally agree. Trevor also donated the same thing about Jarl's sword. We had a lot of $2 donations of people donating about this sword from Trevor. Thank you very much for bringing that up again, though. Yeah, with the Herald sword. I feel like we exhausted talking about that, though. I feel like we've brought that up time and time again. What a fantastic chapter, though, man. This is great. Also, Flipdo was saying, I've wanted to do co-streaming because it seemed like a hassle to set up, but what is the name of this tool? It looks really useful. It's called Social Stream. Social Stream is the name of the tool. Yeah. Trevor saying I came in late. Sorry, no, don't even worry about it, Trevor. Don't worry about it. We're happy to have you. We appreciate you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I was just saying that we're just not talking about it more because we've talked about it already, but that your question was answered. Don't worry about a thing. No, we appreciate you we appreciate everybody. I appreciate my regular viewers. I appreciate the members. I appreciate the Twitch viewers. I appreciate all of you. I love you all. Nakama. You're all great. And people are, like I said, dropping really good theories. The Nakama over in the Manga Sunday room, we're dropping great theories as well. This is great. So many different things spawning from this chapter. I'm seeing Denjen also saying in my chat that maybe Loki was stopping Harold from doing something nefarious with the elders. That Harold stabbed Jarl in the head, and that made Jarl forget what happened. Totally. What if the mystery guy is Gaban and is about to save Loki, and then she sees Shanks' twin and gives us a bit more lore about the God Valley incident and why they took Shanks? That would be cool as well. I'd like that too. Honestly, anything that gives me more lore is going to make me very happy. Lots of people brought up the Fenrir thing. Also, Vipul coming through saying happy 4,504 subs, Roger. 454K, bro. We're at 454,000 subscribers on YouTube. Greatly appreciate all of you. Nakama, thank you for coming through to the stream. Man, oh man. Yeah, I hopped up another like 3K this past, day and a half after that Switch 2 prediction video went up. Incredible. Thank you very, very much. Wow. Well, I think we're good to go. I think I pretty much covered everything. We got one more super chat. Hold on. Saying, from Anime Dimension, saying, in Norse mythology, the trickster god Loki and the actions of the blind god cause Ragnarok. So I do genuinely believe that you're right and that Loki will trigger the final war. Exactly. I've been saying that. I thought it was going to be Loki's death, but I do think Loki being freed with what we know about the arc currently seems like the correct way to go about things. Yeah. Wow. Absolute W stream. Heidi's in the chat saying the Royal Viking connections in this chapter are definitely delightful. Dude, this whole chapter is just great. And again, that theory someone brought up about the yokai for Garling, tying in with all of it as well, fantastic. Great stream today, everybody. Thank you all for coming through the stream. Of course, I got lots more content coming up over the rest of the week. I really do want to bring up and potentially do a little YouTube short about that theory with Gunko being the antagonist for Zoro at the end of this arc, with it being sort of a play on the Usopp Perona thing, where Usopp's already depressed and so Perona can't get to him. Zoro already has no sense of direction and that's why Gunko can attack. That's really, really good stuff. So thank you all for an absolutely fantastic stream today. Nakama, like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, I'll talk.